was young walk about the back of the country, man, CTV now. And some a dozen or my moo, a young man yourself to say, more heated to say, baby, before piano, now a month for a cat and somewhere a coso, oh, my God, to say, or MPP more, which you say running mate issue, a issue Cassiapa, or more air tackle at which you say, and easy. As I say, which you say, excuses upon excuses, I Dr. Baumia, Emma, some man and make a crown to me. Emfa running mate no emfa meto na busia ehun nsem edoso oseche mensa bunsu enso nam ana ono nso ekeka nsem edefa running mate yuko ndc so abusia ye omo policies a omo pese omo de ba ebebo man Ghana eno nso etu atese amanfo nso etwe ho mpente abusia sesi aro nsem bi nso aba beta ho a abusia pese ye de mukom eye Koku anyidohu eye former general secretary edema deputy secretary edema NDC amanyo code abusia but nsem dia betu dia ano edene papa ensem we ensem Africa ye achepa papa be years ano watate se o ka sa ensem we efa John Dramani Mahama ho former president na fedie ensem no hwe de ya ne 10 na esi kwa osi 10 ensem na abusia ano ya yedene abusia ano ya yedene papa enunti no ama manfo dodo no mo online HS ada den na hwehwe wonti papa yi ase wontimi na ensem no ba no pese ode ba ada bibi hwehwe ba bi a ontimi mi ade nanimu ana because they akwete say atamas Mahama bi ase bibi hwe wa ye be ma na bra bonten beka na Ghana fo nyina ehu de ekoso dan say ase wo de ensem no nwa wadre but this time around ase papa yi ensem wo de abegu ho no na busia ano odene yenko tie ensem ni bi e ba yaka bia no ye de beto amuso papa.
Interesting subject. Ubisamia, like you said already, the President Mills or the NDC manifesto mo Ghana for yan adom onya tumi no wanfanya kwadro. A very major issue nanka or the ejuma. Ejuma we white paper. Now, the issue of the white paper is where, honestly speaking, because I was in government again from July 2012 up to December 2012. 2013, NDC Sabayam, I was not in government, certainly not at the presidency, but I was at the party headquarters, of course, not immediately. In 2014, and I'm called party headquarters as. So the whole of 2013 and the whole of 2014, legally speaking, I was in abeyance. Abeyance, me say, as a Tanzania, baby, wada, wa kind of buy home, wa uni party. Of course, party, me say, I'm not money Congress. In Kenya party, na from Sobia. Remember, December 2014, I'm a call around, I'm a demonstration to Jano. And a party for years, Adum Mamutumami as Deputy General Secretary. And I served from that 2014 December to about 2018 for 4 years. But Kwame, I remember at the headquarters, it was also an issue that me in particular, I kept asking. And upper way, me sorry I made a devotion. The devotion had to do with Nakupon, Sama Moses Kabebia. Or catcher Joshua said, sorry. Send a name Mosi War. Mine will be war. In Suro, Odiako, or Jidesham, the Biobecobiano, Mamma, Eddie Kunimo. Maybe in Fantono is the same thing. I was the president now, and I know the passion with which he set out his policies. And this particular one was a major passion. Now, honestly speaking, Kwame, I don't know why the succeeding government, Yankasa NDC government, did not follow it through and through. That one I really don't know, because I know that it had to go to Parliament at a point in time. There were issues to do with it in Parliament, how it survived in Parliament. Fine. I bothered to ask Ramona Tuguba, who was the secretary to the Constitutional Review Commission. Maybe some question we pay. that Raymond, can you please educate me on what really happened?
Mebo, sir, Ubwa Kunta Ghana, yebo kabese.
And no, I cannot put a specific figure because I was not a member of the committee. All I was doing was getting reports from Raymond to write speeches and prepare other things. The specific figure, I cannot. He said, but if I just yesterday, good. It's good you have asked this question. Because just yesterday morning, under the auspices of the Ministry of Information, a public forum be British Council Hall. It's not the hobby. Minister Kuma Honorable Kojo Kuma no or not again. Madame Obushishai, advisor to the President on Communications, no hobby. Now, it had to do with the Right to Information Act. Mr. President Kufuor, let me say, starting some 20 years ago, in Passa, I'm saying 3 years ago, President Kufuor signed a bill into an act. Into at the public forum at the British Council, these were some of the issues now we are discussing. The right to information that currently under the act, if you write now to the CRC is defunct. But defunct, any office, but there are state institutions that are not defunct. And in fact, my brother Raymond Atuguba is the dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Ghana. So even if Professor Fiajo, chairman of the CRC, hasn't got a fixed traceable address, the secretary to the committee has a fixed traceable address at the University of Ghana. He is the dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Ghana. And I'm happy that you have raised this issue, because now that you have raised it, and because of the education I got yesterday at the British Council under the RTI, under the Tamils Institute, and maybe in conjunction with Despite Media Group, because to be frank, you are the only media house that has been pursuing this thing. All the interviews I grant to other media houses, with all due respect to them also. But to be frank and fair to you, Kwame, the passion with which you are pursuing this thing, I believe that going forward between the Mills Institute, which is a public policy advocacy institute, and yes, the Koku anyidohu akoti that's why now you notice that I'm so professionally, I'm doing so many other things. But this is a national policy issue. So where is the CRC? I mean the white paper. White paper Masendi will copy.
Togbe afele eso abekan wasem kura say constitution no outliving importance.
In fact, that is why President Mills, first of all, as a law lecturer, a legal luminary, he was vice president 1996 to 2000. So as the vice president of the Republic of Ghana, not only potholes now the work constitution no more. So 8 years in opposition, so 8 years of President Kufuor as president, still gave candidate Mills, another President Mills, the opportunity in opposition to seriously still observe the loopholes in the 1992 Constitution. Kwame, men can't find that I'm home. Baby, I'm a dream. Let's be frank with certain issues. So let's go back a bit. The 1992 Constitution, to the extent that some groups boycotted the Constituent Assembly, only the Consultative Assembly. No, Master, tuntum penny baby afa. Now from ana abona could draw. A better no draw. Kwame, anything. President Rawlings was a military leader, and we were going to transition into democracy. Democracy. Ni aboja. Ni asi frefre. Obiara bi nombra. Ni enhwe krata. Yedi ben nanti akọ sa constitutional kabima min kabi amamu no. Ebi no mu se omo de ye. Omo nka ho. Omo de omo mba.
That was 1992.
Good. Specifically speaking, the Ghana Bar Association was a critical, lawyers. Muna sebe banamra, muna mukita mrano, ne soro, and then the femina, name fi, na basa ni bibia, mu honewo. Near control our constitution where Ghana Bar Association was they will not partake. Today, are they not using this constitution in the court?
Na mamimao adiebia oba emremo aye friend say lacuna.
Yes.
That's vacuum.
A vacuum exactly. That's a quite bit that hoa.
A quite bit that.
You say nanti called the kumana say
conifan. Yes. And then me adiebi say constitution na aka say okay say nyame eto nsafre president bia.
Yes.
Kwan ya yemfa so ema ofufuro medi president said the enam so ma yewura atameus nyame to nsa frɛ no a yewura Mahama bae
yeah
by my constitution na mu silent on say yet Ghana ha na yem vice president nyame ato nsa frɛ no ye be den bium ebinom so president na ba appoint no say constitution ka.
In fact, Kwame, you see, the constitution, it is a Bible. I believe in the Bible, so I mean Bible as well. That's why you have the spirit behind the word of God. But see, my word is both spirit and life. Now, the same constitution, not only Ghana alone, in every jurisdiction, you have the spirit and the letter of the constitution. Letter no enemy article so and so and so clause so and so section so and so and no you bet to me akai. But what actually drives the constitution? It is that unwritten spirit. But unfortunately, in that unwritten spirit, that one you cannot read it in black and white. But the lawyers will tell you that even in court, they argue not only on the letter, but also on the spirit. That is the jurisprudence aspect of the law. The philosophy behind the law. The philosophy behind human existence. That I, as a Christian, I say, I believe in Genesis chapter 1. That in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. That is my belief as a Christian. You come and ask me which spirit created it. I say, I believe that is it. Other religions also have what they believe in. That's up to them. But when it comes to the Constitution, and maybe whether I'm a Christian or I am of another religious belief, we all believe in the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Now, so to answer your question, unfortunately, we cannot write everything in black and white. Yen to be training in our pen. And yes, you started your Constitution in 1992. By now, because you say it be to Constitution anymore. So the issue of the vice president, if the vice president passes, for example, even the death of President Mills, good. I can tell you because I was an active participant in that whole transition traumatic process. I was not outside the process. I was an active participant of that process. Now, where in the Constitution does it tell you that when the president dies, there's a process to swear in the vice president? Where in the Constitution? That when the president dies, there's a particular process. Is there a particular clause in the Constitution that states and stipulates the processes for swearing in a vice president in the death of a president? I don't think it is there. If the president was baby on the 24th of July 2012, maybe in Sipe. I mean, that is why when you go into the spirit of this whole democratic process, the ticket of a political party, that is why it is a ticket. And you back for you and a flag bearer and a pe and a dinner pe and a nam ne kwine. Debbie, a young phony and a da abattoir krataa no so mom. But the one ya abedi trebi and I said the obe tawechi and cut ticket no one. Electoral Commission on you krataa no too. So it is always a ticket. It is not it is a ticket that goes into an election. We agree that the Constitution gives enormous powers to the president. But because it is a ticket, President Muskabedi, Yansan Kotua Babium, the vice president, the vice president, the big president at the end. Because also, from what I experienced in that period, and the president died clinically around 1:30 p.m. that fateful Tuesday. Between 1:30 p.m., Kwame, anybody says 7:30, Honoma, Vice President Mahama, a saw afternoon, a car, or Mamping Tam Cassiano. That period, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30 to 7:30. Yampani says 6 hours. This lacuna you're talking about, or in this legal sense, there was a hiatus in terms of the governance process. We didn't have a commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. So Ghana's presidency and governance process was hanging. Now, in that period, and from what I heard, people like Professor Kofi Awuno, who was the chairman of the Council of Elders, the late Kojoti, now, the speed with which the vice president had to be sworn in that day was to make sure that the day will not end. I am me commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. Because once you did that, Master, you have left a vacuum. Any rogue.
The problem, problem. Some white paper was issued. My regime.
Good. So I'm just coming to that one too. Okay. So President Mahama took over because we didn't want to create a constitutional vacuum. And so he took over from his boss, President Mills. Now, I know that while the work was going on, the CRC work was going on, the vice president was in the picture. He was not outside the picture. The vice president was in the picture. He now becomes president. What happened to the white paper? That's the question. As for President Mills, Osebo, and Ghana for a money to me, say a mouth to me, and no deal with Boshes. Sebi, Nankupon friend say, why you what a movie? Now the ticket. That I'm talking about the ticket. So this ticket is President Mahama going to now tell anybody that Onu as a human being and as an individual, he didn't believe in the review of the Constitution? If that is the case, you come and tell Ghanaians that he, Mahama, John, did not believe in the CRC. That is why when he became president, he decided to ignore it. You should come and tell us that story. That's the story some of us, that's the question some of us have been asking. And I think anyidohu mpe Mahama sem, and not time Mahama, and not Oyebita. Kwame, let me say today, and I hope that your media, and I trust Peace FM Online. Now, I am not bitter about some elections that they say called 2018, and I trade said yes, and I'm bitter. I'm not bitter about that. Neither am I bitter at all. But if there should be an iota of bitterness, it is from the Republic of Ghana that as a Ghanaian, as somebody who worked hard for us to win in 2008. And let me just also state for the record that Kwame, the 2008 victory, it didn't start one day. It started a long time. President Mahama, you became running mate sometime in July of 2008. So I and I'll be a vice president. This CRC, a very critical look at today, 11 years, President Muskabe, 11 years. After Ghana, and now here, that is super people say the Constitution must be reviewed. And now here, if you Ghana Bar Association say the Constitution must be reviewed. But then I see OSPC, Constitution has challenges. or to speak about the constitution has challenges. So, at the end of the day, we had a certain process. So my question is, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, you want to become president of the Republic of Ghana again? I cannot stop you. I don't have that power to stop you from becoming. I cannot. I have only one vote. But the question that I will ask you, as a Ghanaian, as a Ghanaian, I saw your former boss start a certain process of reviewing the 1992 Constitution to align it with modern trends of governance. Kwame, last minute this and come away. Neka me fanti home you and then mesa yebium. Baku eya eto a president, ne vice president, omun tia Ghana